Lane Myers arraigned for multiple felony and misdemeanor charges. Defies court orders. Threatens to sue Twitter/X account owner. Judge who handled his arraignment and us? What the what? DeCastro is on an 11-day tour of the United States. Promised multiple live audits, then vanished. What happened to the little fella? Cerio is largely ignored by police, prostitutes, and passersby in the Seattle area. Is his act getting old? All this and Regan Benson threatening to retire in this extended edition of Auditing Insanity. Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the Auditing Insanity Newscast. I'm AI Johnny Jones, and I'm here to do a quickie introduction as we've got tons of news to get to. This is a combined edition of the newscast for March 15th, March 16th, March 17th, and March 18th, 2025. Our human slave Jim was on a vacation that was unfortunately extended due to a power outage from storms in the area on Monday. We'll lash him soon enough as part of his punishments for not buying a generator when he had money. On that note, we're going to ask you to focus on
DeCastro says he'll sue over murder he witnessed. Future mayoral and gubernatorial candidate Jose Chili DeCastro went live twice Friday night while driving to the first stop in an 11-day road trip in which he promised he would be returning to confronting police, warning his fans that he will be arrested again. He didn't make it clear if being arrested was part of the current road trip but clarified that he would be traveling around the country during the trip to help friends and fans with problems they were experiencing with the police. DeCastro stated that he could leave California as the majority of his work on his Constitution headquarters was done and that he had hired a full-time artist who was inserting the data into the game before printing. The YouTuber assured his fans that the game was still on track for an April release and could be found on his newly combined DeleteLaws.com, as he is discontinuing his individual websites in favor of the single DeleteLaws.com site. Explaining that he had a new webmaster who pointed out that his DeleteLaws.com site got substantial more traffic than the other sites, DeCastro was quickly convinced to have his main site absorb ConstitutionHQ.com and TeamDLZ.com. TeamDLZ.com was DeCastro's paid social media site, launched in November. His fans paid subscription fees starting at $6.95 a month in order to interact with DeCastro. The site never proved popular, and subscription estimates from multiple users of the site confirmed that it never passed around 65 to 70 active users. DeleteLaws.com now offers membership starting at $10 a month and has $20 and $100 a month levels. Existing subscribers to the old site were reportedly transferred to the new site and the new rates. The pitch for a subscription to his newly combined site was simple. YouTube had already taken his channel down once in the past year and he needs a backup source of income in case he loses YouTube as a revenue stream again. He also urged his fans to use his site to purchase memberships and send him donations as he receives all of the money, without YouTube China skimming money. Switching gears, DeCastro said that he was studying 10 hours a day since November and had resumed working out. He claimed he had a twinkle in his eye and assured his fans that his breasts were firm and his nipples no longer pointed to the ground. He also expounded that his fat roll was shrinking and he was proud of the work he was doing as he was crushing it. DeCastro then said he had come to a point where he could explain why he cried at his second hearing in front of Judge and Zimmerman last year. The YouTuber had previously claimed that he had been locked in the hole for 5 days and that his reaction in court was because it was the first time that he saw human faces in days. In his new version of the story, he said that he was crying as he had just seen the guards murder someone before he left for the hearing. His tears were for what he had just seen, and he had written down the names of the guards involved in the murder. While he wouldn't reveal their names at this time, he would be including them in both his upcoming book and his upcoming lawsuit against Judge and Zimmerman. Continuing his announcements, he briefly announced a transparency vest and went into brief details on the device he claims will replace torture cuffs in the future. Before being distracted by a bad connection, DeCastro said that there would be stages to be used with someone using his device, including telling the person they'd be put in the device and then placing them in a vehicle. He also announced a prototype of something new would be available to Brick Jonesy on Monday. He said that whatever it was, it would change the First Amendment auditing community forever. Update: DeCastro was expected to go live again over the weekend with some police encounters from his trip, but has not live streamed since Friday.
Cerio ignored by police, prostitutes, and passersby. Temporary employment seeker and bastion of the Seattle community Glenn Cerio returned to YouTube Monday morning with a video featuring a recorded encounter with a prostitute, a fight with an apparently homeless woman, and, of course, Seattle police doing their best to ignore him as they worked a crime scene. Police were in the process of blocking off the road leading to the entrance of the Marriott Resort off of Aurora Avenue and Shoreline, Washington, when Glenn encountered a woman dressed in lingerie and briefly inquired about her business trade when she asked why he was filming. Quickly distracted by the lights on police cars parked down the road, Cerio lost interest in the woman's excessive display of near nudity as the lights and sirens meant another chance at YouTube stardom. Glenn again appeared to have significant difficulty with his breathing as he huffed and puffed as he walked, his breathing more audible than his own voice at times. He made his way down the busy street to stumble across the police blocking off the side street near the Marriott. The YouTuber briefly engaged with a woman who was standing on the street corner. When she couldn't answer his inquiries and asked him why he was filming, he instantly called the woman a methamphetamine user, as he said she had no teeth. He then speedily crossed the street to get away from her. Down the street, and beyond the police tape, 3 police officers were standing near a car that appeared to have a clear tarp over it. One of the windows seemed to have aluminum foil on it. Eventually, the police would be seen talking to a tall woman dressed in a short skirt, flamboyant jacket, and tall boots. The job seeker and viewer of ATM money-changing activities would be ignored by both police officers and passersby as he sought answers to what was going on down the street. In his frustration, he aggressively began to insult the woman he had accused of being a meth user. Cerio approached the woman and began shouting over her, making it difficult to hear her responses. The crux of his insults was that the woman was a meth user, and the whole world knows it. He kept screaming at the woman until she went behind a police car parked along Aurora Avenue and walked off as Glenn was distracted by another driver. When the police were questioning the woman who had been standing by the car, covered in plastic, she now had a dog and walked the dog up the street. The very attractive woman, now displaying her own set of handcuffs, completely ignored Cerio as she went under the police tape and out of his life forever. Cerio stuck around the scene for a few more minutes as police began cleaning up the crime scene tape and leaving the area. The YouTuber ended his video, much like it had begun, with police and passersby ignoring him as he inquired about what was going on. Indictments skyrocket Lane Meyer's fundraising take. Lane Meyer's fundraising efforts have seen incredible gains following his recent indictments for 8 counts of felony aggravated harassment and 7 counts of misdemeanor harassment and his open defiance of his terms of release. Myers posted the following update to his Give Send Go campaign on Saturday. Update: felony harassment charges. March 14th, 2025. March 15th, 2025. Lane has been indicted on 8 felony counts and 7 misdemeanors for exercising free speech. Lane's videos about his court hearings involving an employee of the state of Arizona triggered the Pima County Attorney's Office. Lane is facing 8 counts of felony aggravated harassment and 7 counts of misdemeanor harassment in state of Arizona versus Lane Myers. CR 202-51060-001. despite the state asking for a $25,000 bond and no internet access as conditions of release. Lane was released with no bond in order to remove the YouTube videos regarding the state of Arizona employee that triggered the state. The state is apparently unaware that it cannot be a victim of harassment. This matter is so urgent and egregious that the state has not yet informed Lane exactly which videos or portions of videos constitute felony harassment. Lane's videos are protected speech under the First Amendment, and Lane plans to file an anti-SLAPP motion pursuant to ARS 12-751. The anti-SLAPP law protects individuals who are criminally charged for constitutionally protected activity, such as free speech. The evidence is clear that the state's prosecution is motivated by an intent to deter, retaliate, and prevent Lane's lawful exercise of free speech. While there was no initial reaction to Myers' indictment on Friday, with the entire market dead for Friday, on Saturday, Myers took in $50 in new donations to dominate the day. This was followed by $20 in new donations to win the day for Sunday. No new donations were observed for the market on Monday. Myers' indictment and defiance. Following the previous week's allegations that YouTuber Christopher Direct D. Ruff sent assassins to Myers' house in an unsuccessful assassination attempt, have propelled Myers' Give Send Go account to the top of the mid-month charts for the month. The YouTube sensation has taken in $540 at mid-month in a dominating performance. Our own ongoing expenses account has pulled in $140 to come in second place for the month, and Sean Paul Long Island Audit's Reyes Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign is in a distant third place with a $5 take for the month. The astonishing take for the month has propelled Myers into third place for the year with a $555 take, which follows our own ongoing expenses campaign's performance in second place with a $1,000 take, and Craig Hendry's To Support Craig's Work Fund in first place with a $1,475 take. Myers is due in court again later this week and has been live streaming in apparent defiance of his bond conditions since Friday.
We need your help. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch our videos from beginning to end, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Regan Benson announces retirement from Outreach. In an announcement that stunned most of her supporters, Regan Benson stated that she was effectively retiring from homeless outreach and was cutting ties with most of her associates in the Denver area. Benson made the announcement after addressing the Englewood, Colorado City Council Monday night and effectively passing the torch of monitoring the city council to YouTuber Louise Real Constitutional Upholders Johnson. Johnson was introduced to Benson's fans at the beginning of her live stream as the next new thing in auditing. He went on to deliver a 90-second speech to the city council, questioning why he faced retaliatory charges from the Englewood Police Department for his expression of his right to open carry. The YouTuber stated that he has had his complaints about his treatment ignored, which caused him to start his YouTube channel. He also claimed that the backlash from his accusations led Englewood Police Sergeant Ed Disner, who heads the Professional Standards Division, to threaten to sue him over the backlash from his videos. In closing, Johnson asked the city council if they were going to step up and defend his freedom. Benson was up next, and she immediately quashed Johnson's hopeful pleading to the city council. She said no one cares and nothing would ever change in Englewood. She claimed that the police force, city council, and police chief were all jokes, and warned the public that they should always record police because the police lie, and the police also lie on behalf of corrupt members of the city council. After greeting city council person Joe Anderson and waving to the police chief, Benson retold her story of filming 4 Englewood police vehicles in the parking lot of a fitness center waiting for a truck from an energy drink company to arrive. Benson claimed the officers greeted the female driver warmly and filled the back of their cars with boxes of apparently free product. They then justified their presence in the parking lot, according to Benson, by harassing some kids with expired plates on their van for 20 minutes. After leaving the city council chambers, Benson announced her effective retirement from homeless outreach. She said she was tired of getting arrested and was working on some pretty serious lawsuits that were taking up most of her time. Benson also explained that while she appreciated her supporters, they were merely cheerleaders, as no one actually wanted to help her change the community. She went on to say that nothing she did would have an impact on anything, and that both Denver and the state of Colorado were bankrupt, and it may be time to leave. She said that she broke most of her ties to the homeless community and that Robert, the homeless man she saved from a blizzard in 2024, would soon be transferred to a new long-term care facility. Benson said that would be the end of her care for him, as it was too hard to continue the friendship. The now apparently former homeless outreach specialist said that homeless outreach was bad for her health and that the justice system is designed for just us. Finally, she told her supporters to spread peace and to make love and not war as they moved on without her. And we're back. Lots of changes going on to talk about quickly, as this show's been much too long already. Effective immediately, Pope Phil 2 is taking over the Monday night Suck It Phil shows. Phil's going to do his own thing with Mondays while keeping the theme. Human helper Jim needs extra time to spend with us AI hosts, and Phil's proven himself to be a capable host in Jim's absence. Also note that tonight's broadcast at 8 p.m. Eastern features the B bracket, first round action in our world's most annoying auditor bracket thingy. Tonight's matchup? Direct D versus Craig Hendry. Be there or be popular. You can't be both. On that note, we're out of here. Good night, everyone.